So now we're going to let the Rabbanit to speak, Rabbanit Melamed. She's an amazing woman, and we will look at her house. She has a rabbi and all her daughters and kids. Amazing family. And she's a educator. She's a new television. She spoke about this in Shdema. She goes against the tide, which the tide goes towards being really extreme feminist. Let's hear the real feminism about the feminine women place. So it's the first time I met the issue of feminism. I got a call and they invited me to a panel and asked me, somebody who created Arutz participate in the panel, and I felt immediately they're mistaken and they don't know that they invited me. And I said, I think you're mistaken because I'm very, very, very not feminist. And there was very much quiet on the other side. And suddenly she says, this is wonderful. If somebody, a housewife, is going to come and she speaks about it, they'll say, you don't know anything. But if you come that did something and created something, and she's going to talk about feminism, that would be very exciting. Since then, I'm invited to panels with the hat of not feminism, but succeeded to create something. Like there is some sort of a contradiction between the terms. So of course, this holiday is appropriate for this because we'll speak when we get to Shavuot. But we have women involved that are so creative and but they're not feminists. They did this as women. The place of women is very big. We'll start with Eve, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Miriam, all of them influenced the Israelites so much, but behind the scenes, in a way that is appropriate for a woman. And they did amazing things. Because of women, they were able to get out of Egypt. They did this in a way that it was appropriate for a woman. I want to go to the roots. After I was in a few panels, it was a little bit uncomfortable. All those that came speaking about feminism came for 4 or 5 pages, and they had all kinds of quotes, and I'm here comes with myself. And I said, okay, I need a little bit to read and educate myself. So the roots of feminism started with the equality. When the world wanted to get to democracy and equality. That's very, very important issues, but as in many issues, when it starts good and slowly but surely gets to areas that are really problematic. Equality can be between equals. You can't do equality between unequal people. And democracy brought to such confusion that everything is women, men, Jews, non-Jews, kids, parents, even humans and animals. When we got out of Gush Kativ, they didn't take one settlement out, not because the people didn't have any place, because they couldn't find a place for the cows. I love cows, but it is a border. If the settlement had place, not the cows is more important, but the people, the organization of animals, they were mad because they didn't take their cats and dogs with them, but less about having a space for them. We're used to it, that Hashem created the world step by step, in an organization that's very accurate. Let's look at Bamidbar Parsha, how the Israelites are all organized, every tribe, every flag. There's very beautiful organization. There's Kohanim, there's Levim, there's Israel. I never saw Israel that it'll say, hey, why are they blessing? I want to bless too. I have more ability. I'm more smart. Or a Levi will say, I want to be a Kohen. I don't want to go and help the Kohanim to wash their hands. I want to be Israel. It's very, very clear. Kohanim, Levim, Israel. And this is the world is being created. Animals, flowers, Israel, Adam, a human. And just yesterday I spoke with young people in the Ulpan. Something that's very, very difficult for people to understand is the uniqueness of Israel. They want to see the opposite of equality and democracy. Of course, we understand what's special about Jews, and we know that it gives us a very difficult position, but it's very difficult for people to accept this because non-Jews, they're amazing. They're also created by Hashem. And we have Jews that are very unhappy about their behavior, but it doesn't contradict the specialty of Jews. In this occasion, I did a little bit of work. I took the page that I prepared, and we had a panel in the Center for Democracy. And it was after the mess of singing of women in the army and all the issues that came up with that. There was a panel, like a circle table, and on me, they told me to show the women position in Israel. And they thought maybe I will talk about that it's poor, it's miserable, and that's not what I said. They were there, representatives from different women organizations. You can't believe that how many feminist organization there is. If I'll take out I took something like 25 different organizations, and all of them are the same, and they are all sitting, members of it. And I was the only, I felt very lonely then. So first I said, I can't be a feminist. I will join the feminists the day when men can give birth and when men can also breastfeed. I know it's really equal. I can be part of feminism. And I said that when they did doula, there's doulas, I was afraid that we're going to get to that point of having men breastfeeding. Only women can breastfeed and give birth, and on us we have the job of making a family. That's our major position, and everything else goes away. In our generation, we have to think that the whole idea of technology is so different that helps a lot to women. We have a washing machine, a dryer, and we have a micro, we have oven, we have prepared food, we have frozen food. If my grandmother makes from lunch, from morning to afternoon, she worked. I can do it in half an hour. So we have a lot of time, and we're creative. Why won't we do something? So we have to understand that the technology enabled women to work more, but there's no way to give birth and no breastfeeding, and also to educate, and that's our job. Because they had in this panel representatives of all kinds of women feminist groups, I thought it's more important to take care of that women can work half a position, and they can work, can be a lot at home, and also can be disconnected from their career. But I thought that's what they should be proposed. And then I said the following thing, that they created an uproar, that I think there's no problem in Israel against women, but there is contradiction towards women. And I gave a few examples. They can have a longer break, from work, like birthing. They have 1 hour of breastfeeding. Me as an employer, I say that what's the problem with it? I had a secretary. I'm not talking about elite or awesome that are huge factories, but we're a small place. I had a secretary. She gave birth. She came back. Now she has an hour of breastfeeding. I can't bring somebody for that for 1 hour. So the employer, not the person who made the law, has to be doing her job while she breastfeeds. But it's a privilege that is really nice for women. After that, also there is periods that you can fire a woman, not pregnant and not 3 months after being pregnant. She can to be really fresh, but you can't fire her. And I have examples of that. And I love women that give birth and breastfeed, but 7 times I did this. But I'll give you an example. We had a teacher in a school called Nam. So finished the year very mediocre, and we debated whether to continue. We'll give her a chance. The second year was finished. We really wanted to say goodbye, but she was pregnant. So she continued another year. The third year finished. We wanted to say goodbye. She was pregnant, and now she got permanency. So how can you say that there's bad teachers in the system? But she was not appropriate to be a teacher, but everybody is surprised why the employers that see somebody who's pregnant say, no, it's not for me. Because at the end, all these laws can be also bad for women. By the way, all the laws, and including the men in the Histadrut, the labor organization, with the years, caused to inappropriate way towards work. Always the worker thinks how he can use all the laws, all the ways that they gave, instead of thinking how much I give and add to the place I work. The moment I said these things, you can not even imagine how all the women attacked me. And until one of the men, there weren't many men, maybe 21 men that felt sorry for me. Don't feel sorry, it'll be fine, I'll get along. They were really mad. And one man said, why aren't you listening to her? She's saying something for your own good. She says those laws are not for your own good. Continue now. I also said, with my experience and my wars, a woman that works well, does not use her position as a woman, will not have a problem, will not have any barriers. She will be able to go forward in any way she wants. But if you ask me, if I have a position for Arutz, a man comes and a woman comes with the same abilities, I'll say the truth, I'll go for the man. Not because of all the things I said about women, because I think that still it's more important that men will work, that the men will make a living. It's more important than if I say to the woman that there is work. And forgive me all the women that want to work at the... Let's see a few things are unjust for women. They have something that is in the government. They have this safe position that there has to be a certain percentage of women of Arabs. So that women has a certain percentage. So you have to support them. They have also earlier pension. Their life expectancy is longer. Why shouldn't they get to pension early? They should go later. If you say that to any committee for forwarding the women position, everybody will get mad. I was there, and they get mad about this. Something that in Arutz Sheva we're going against it. Not everybody understands violence in the family. They always will go against the guy. They will not figure out everything. There's some guys that are bad and some women that are bad. According to statistics, it's 50-50. it's always the man is being put on, even if he something woman says that he did it, they'll take out from the house, and it's not fair necessarily. Let's take all the issues of this one family households, women. They did something really problematic with widows and also divorcees. They really needed to get divorced. We have a group of women that get divorced because it makes more sense financially. That it's a tragedy because it came to a point where the position that the state is supporting them, unbelievable. If if you have 6, 7 kids and goes to work, and if you're one woman household, they will get more money and support. They made it into a value. It's also a halacha issues, but you shouldn't use it as something as an ideal, as better than being married. I said a lot of things, but I'm also saying something additional. In my opinion, the women were always very strong. They always had influence and still have today, and everybody knows that from her own household, but their ability and their position is behind the scenes, and they do a lot, and it's important to keep this balance. The position of the father, the position of the mother, the position of the man, the position of the woman. There is a lot of psychology that says that all the educational problem, the strong one, starts from the confusion in the house. Maybe they're right. The truth is I didn't ask before I came here, Nadia, if there's women that is very feminist, and of course they have a right to argue with me. Well, no problem. I'll tell you, I was also in a committee for the women equality. I won't go to this particular committee unless I'll bring with me support. Then it used to be Tzipi Chotoveli used to be the heading the committee, and she said she'll let me speak. In this committee, they'll spoke about women in the army, and sat there, I would say, 3/4 of a circle, women organizations from all kinds in particular, and on the side, me, women from Emunah, belief, which wasn't exactly my ideas, but close, and also was Uri Orbach, Zal. And they spoke things that were really, I was very quiet. When I had the chance to speak, and then it was the issue of singing in the army, a few soldiers that finished the course, they sat in the, quietly came out, didn't do anything, but everybody was mad at them because they got out when they sang. And I said, listen, I'm saying it honestly, women should not be in the army. It costs a lot. Everything they can, men can do. There is a lot of unemployment in the army. If you ask me, I would say there should be a platoon of women separate from men. If I have a choice between men and women guarding an area, I would prefer men. I'm not against women in the army, but you, the feminists, this organization, leave the army. It's not your circle for your fights. It's not a fun place for the summer. It has to be strong and a little bit mean. And of course, there was one that said, I can't deal with what she's saying. And she was really, and all, they had to like quiet down. So at the end I said, soldiers for many months were put in effort and ran and in shrubbery and did this and that, and came to the party. And on one hand, they have a group of soldiers that have to sing, and they think she needs to sing. And who should we accept, consider the soldiers, and this is their party, or the girl soldiers that are not really modestly? Of course, you have to consider the women that sings. Of course, it's obvious that we need to consider their feelings. But for me, the soldiers that were working so hard was more important. In that particular committee was the commander of the women troop, or platoon. She's an advisor of the supreme commander of the army, and what she said, and she was proud of in front of all the women organizations. There's more than 50% officers in the army, and imagine that one of the this organization started screaming. But when she was screaming, I'm saying screaming, she screamed, "How aren't you ashamed? We sent you to push the women, and 50%, it was last time, and how you have to have a higher position, and you're not doing your position." And I couldn't believe, and sending them to promote women, not to fight, not to be appropriate. And still, we don't know what our position of the army anymore. But to give women equality there just for the sake of equality doesn't make sense. To my regret, also for reasons that the times I would get to our youth, I was invited to Mechlet Chorev, to other places to speak with the girls, with the students on these issues. And for instance, we were in a panel, how you putting it in your life, and how do you, and I came out and I said that always after giving birth, I was trying to quickly get enough that my husband won't have to help me, so I will function and he wouldn't have to help me. And I say from the girls who were there, "Oh gosh, why wouldn't he help?" I was surprised, but apparently that's what's going on in their mind. And I had once a lecture for girls in Ulpana and Rehovot, and I wanted to explain to them, to tell them how I see the difference between women and men, and I made a fatal mistake when I said that if we're talking now, who has to go study Torah, of course, but even position, that the man is above the woman. He's the first to go to study, and they weren't happy about it. I wasn't used to it. They were listening and everything. So one of the teachers said, from the position that you said this, you finished with them. I said, "What do you mean? I don't understand. What do you mean? They can't deal with this concept." By the way, all the women organizations are funded by the New Israel Fund. And once I saw in the internet interview, one of the head of that she says that now they're getting into full force into the religious women, also to influence there. And lately there is, I wouldn't say, more and more girls are going to the army from religious circles. And in reality, I see, unfortunately, that they're successful. And more girls of us are going to the army. And there's some that says that it's It comes from the weakness of national services, not so organized, and the army has more organization in the army, and they add to all religious girls an advisor or the helper to get along, to fun, to function. She's not happy with her position. They work on this. Just so you know, if you have girls that you want, you debating where to put them. We'll go to Shavuot now. Holiday. I see it's not too bad that I'm late. I say because I'm always speak very, very short. I don't know how to speak long. I remember all my friends, my teachers will not have all the material, but I never had a problem with being able to send all the materials. I said maybe they don't know. I'll check if I sent, educated all the or gave all the materials, but I always did. So now Shavuot. If we were looking on kingship of King David, we see a lot of questions arise. It starts also from Lot's daughters, goes to Tamar, then you see Ruth, and then obviously to Bathsheba. All these events are very, very complicated. I will say very problematic. First, pay attention. It's all women. It starts and ends with women. And even though from this afterwards comes out kingship of David and lineage of David, and it's very difficult to understand what's the purpose to have this through bringing through so many problems and events that we're looking at it with not positive things. We have to get into deeper and deeper to the purpose of this world. The world was created. He went away from its holy area. Everything that we do since then until Mashiach times is to get back the whole entire world closer to Hashem. It's all one unity. Hashem, the world, everything is one united thing. And all the forces are in. The bad one is one unity. It's not like in the non-Jews that you have every force has its own God. In Israel, the unity of Hashem and the world is something very deep. And it's also easier to understand that we have to get into all the areas, even the darkest ones, even the problematic ones, even the foreign ones to us, and there to do the correction, and there to get out all the spark, the good spark that is in it, and everything has goodness in it. We know in Egyptian exile there was the purpose of the Israelites is to find the good parts in Egypt, also going in the desert, all the way, everywhere they went, they found the good parts. Let's go back to our issues. Lot, the daughters of Lot do something really bad. According to any non-Jews, it's something that is incest is very bad. Moab becomes our worst enemy, and we don't accept non-Jews from there, from Moab, and from such low, ugly base comes Ruth, who is doing the correction. And what are we supposed to take away from this event is forwardness. Forwardness being, you have to have, even Melech HaMashiach, the king of Mashiach, has to have this forwardness. And we also have Tamar and Yehuda, which is also a whole story that is not easy. Tamar has to, bluff Yehuda and what he did, also going, and also here, out of this, we have to pick up the sparks, the the point, the beautiful, positive point, which is the truth, the admission that he is willing, despite all the shame, is to admit with the mistake he did. And here we took the point of problem to spark. Ruth came from Moab. You can't even find somebody that'll be the mother of kingship. No, she did the correction and came to Bethlehem and connected so beautifully to her mother-in-law. She teaches us the point of being you have to also have something that'll soften things. Charity. On the radio, not Arutz Sheva, I was listening to Arutz Sheva. They spoke about Shavuot, and it were a bit weird things, and remind Ruth as the example of convert. But they don't say your nation is my nation, your God is my God. She accepted everything. It's not just to be a convert. If you want to learn from Ruth, learn everything. There's something bizarre that they said, what is the Torah for you? And he says, I love the Torah, but in my eyes it's like a book of idea, correct, but I don't like the issues that if you do this and this happens and this. I just take the side that is beautiful and comfortable. I learn all the morals, all the good deeds, and that's like my conscience. And here I have to remind that somebody we have a big problem with is Professor Leibovich, that he about this kind of ideas is not to work Hashem. It's somebody's working himself. Not if you do something just what you like, it's not Hashem. You're working for yourself, not for Hashem or not. So some of the important things you didn't hear me. There's a little bit of an echo, so we heard everything, and hopefully we'll hear more. Okay, so we spoke about Ruth, and we spoke about that we didn't finish the act. We need still to get to Mashiach times. We have a lot to do, more corrections, but from Lot, girls, daughters, Tamar and Yudah, and also Ruth, we already took out very good values. We also Orpah, which is the left Nomi and Ruth, became really bad. If you're already connected to holiness and get away, you can only go bad, worse. From her came Goliath, because she was close to Naomi for a little bit, for maybe a little bit. Only 40 days he was able to curse David or the Israelites. From Ruth we have Bathsheba, which from her came Shlomo. So again, what you can do, that they'll have different women have Shlomo, King Solomon. They had somebody who from her, the King David, made a sin, and no. That's the whole idea, that from the lowest law there was a correction that was done very big, and the King David taught how to do redeeming himself, and from every place you can find something good. This idea is very deep and very difficult to understand, and I want to say to you that many times when I sit at the radio and I sit there every day and hear the news, it's very, very difficult and anguishing, and I come home very angry and upset, and I, of course, on my husband, he's the representative of Hashem, and I get mad, and what's this idea, and why is this Why are you saying everything is for the best? And my husband says, you can't do like this to look at the world so simply. But if you look high and deep, everything that's going on is for the good. And whoever doesn't believe in it has no belief. Big time of emptiness. Somebody came to me who was in a really high position and she wanted to go to the Knesset, and I say to the rabbi, and this bad, and this bad, and this bad, and rabbi, this is bad, and this bad. The rabbi asked him, do you believe in Hashem? He said, of course. Do you believe that everything that Hashem does is good? And we say that. And he says, yes. So, no, what is this? This is bad, this is bad. I see good, 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 good. You can't look at the world like that. I prepared a little point and we spoke most of it. I have another little, it wasn't enough one little page. So all this organization, Shdulat, the women Shdula, Women to Women, Bat Shalom, the organization for promoting women, Coalition of Women for Peace and Justice, promoting women, Neta Nashim, women, Neta women for their future. Force for power, nest for women, economic for women, and forum for women, rights for women. So you could see when you have the committee for women equality, they invite every week. They sit and they discuss things, and they invite all this organization, and of course they get a lot of position, and they're all the same. They're all the same, and you have to really fight with a tide of organization. And also I spoke about what's the committee for the position of women, and why does she need a committee, a special committee? Why wouldn't it be a committee for the family? They can see the whole family issue, the woman, the man, the kids. So the man they threw away. There's women for the women and a committee for kids, which is similar to the committee for women. And I think there should be no committee like that. And it's so absurd. They got a little world segregated from that. And I get invitation for the committee, the blind and the women, blindness and women. Problem in finding a place to live, and women. Why is women so separate? It reminds me of a joke about Jews. Everything was the subject and the Jewish problem. Subject and the Jewish problem. Everything around the world in relationship to women. This is a bit problematic. So we're going to have to work a lot to change this. I wanted to say further that when I sat there in the first committee, next to me was a woman, a very nice lady, very astute, spoke very nicely. When Sivan Rahav Meir was the leading spokesperson, and when she said about that was in Arutz Sheva, that was a little, that the man of Arutz Sheva, I'm the woman of Arutz Sheva. She says that I have women, kids and grandchildren, and then the lady who was next to me says, from the heart, well, who's going to be with us? I have one daughter, she was about 50, 60. She didn't get married. I don't even have grandchildren. I don't have any grandchildren. What's going to happen with our country in the future? It wasn't funny. It was very, very hurtful. She spoke from a very hurtful place. And I understood her. We're missing because nothing you can correct with that. You can't at 50 correct it. She feels like her ground is coming off, and there's no generation that goes forward with. And another thing, when we get out from the committee, there was one rabbi landscape. There was outside a woman, and I tell you this because I was shocked and I felt sorry for her. She yelled at us loud, "How dare you not say thanks to all the women that fought for the position of women? How do you explain all kinds of different ways? And we fought for you." And she screamed and screamed and screamed. And he tried to answer, and it didn't help. And we still heard her in the car. And I made the idea to look backwards, and it's true that 100, 200 years ago, the women had a position to really fight and to go forward. And many today are still fights, but it's not connected today to what's going on through the years that we got to. And I'll say the last thing. A midrash that I really love. It's very short, but it's very, very concise and important. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachman says, "I will know the thoughts." It's from Jeremiah. Tribes are choosing Joseph. Yaakov was dealt with his bag. Judah was thinking about choosing a woman. And Hashem and created the light of a king. We do many, many things in this world. We're doing this, and I'm influencing this and that, and everything really comes from Hashem, and then it's lined by Hashem. They didn't know that in truth that there are actually players in all this play, right, that to bring the light of Mashiach to this world. If you have questions. Well, first we'll say thank you on the courage even to think to you about this committee, which is like the Romans say, gladiators and all the animals. And I was thinking about the strength to say things that are not very politically correct or PC.